Me and you are two perfect extremes. I'm 34 trying to have my first kid. I randomly feel this sense of, oh my God, I'm so behind.
I love that you're sharing that because I don't think you hear people talk about personal sacrifices that need to be made.
I'm not so happy with the size of my company, especially after talking those people that were like, I exited for $650 million. I was like, meh. The big mistake we had was
Listen up, listen up. Welcome to Not Alone, where curiosity and connection come first. First, let me tell you a little bit about what I've been up to lately. I just came back from Nashville, and let me tell you, I had the time of my life. First of all, I'm going to start by saying I love America. I love America so much, and I need to travel more in America. So we were actually between Mexico City and Nashville. We ended up going to Nashville, had the absolute best time, you guys. It was so fun. It was purely just a perfect girls trip where we're just bar hopping. We're laughing all day long. We went for hikes. I mean, the season right now is beautiful. The leaves are turning color. We had some great food and overall just had time to do nothing and everything at the same time. There's something so magical about girls trips because you're able to truly disconnect from your day-to-day responsibilities and just be girls. We stayed all in the same room. We just had the best time. So it was just a reminder for me to, first of all, go out there, explore and talk to people. I've learned a lot about my life and other people's life just from this trip, from talking to strangers and asking questions. And also it taught me how girlfriends is a lifeline. I'm so happy I'm at this point in my life where I can truly appreciate and dedicate time to these kind of connections. And I do think that it's a season in life. I feel like we go through, different eras where you're solely focused on, finding your partner and then building a home and then having kids. And all of that is definitely important, but there comes a time where you realize that the women that you surround yourself with are going to be there for you whenever you need, honestly, whenever you need and don't need. That's the magic of female friendships. And when I say lifeline, I truly mean it. I mean, I've gone through so many identities and changes and so many different periods of who I am. And I think that my friends were always the best mirror to the kind of improvements and the kind of work that I need to do, but also the things that I need to be grateful for and enjoy. So I love my girlfriends. Okay, enough. I'm gonna start crying right now. I'm excited to sit down today with Cass DiMicco. Speaking of girls that I met throughout my journey, Cass I actually met a couple of years ago. Think it was during Fashion Week or Fashion Month. We were always kind of cross paths. She's been in content creation for a while. She's also a founder of Aureum Collective, an amazing brand that you see the biggest stars wear. And what I love most about her is how she's always been very open on her challenges and her kind of realizations about working with her husband, building a business, wanting to start a family. It's just like a really nice way to connect to somebody when they're just laying their cards on the table. You don't meet people like that, too often. So I was really excited to get her to come here, to chill, to sit down and to dive into the building of her own identity as an entrepreneur and as a woman in the world. We dived into all the things, especially building a family because that's the phase that she's in. And it is an interesting one to dive into with somebody that's been so focused on her entrepreneurial journey. So let's get into it right now. I don't know why I made the pause. Let's go. Okay, amazing. Okay, so we just started. You walked in and you right away started talking about the dinner where we saw each other last, which was already last week. It happened last week, right?
Yeah, I'm still feeling inspired.
Okay, so for those of you guys who want a little bit of the context, so Cass and I were part of the dinner that Emma Grede put together. It's called A Seat at the Table. We were sitting across each other, but I was kind of watching you and other people around the room and just seeing how everybody was feeling the same energy that I was feeling.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I making a bigger deal out of it? But I was like, no.
I'm like, can we do this once a month?
It was
like, I want something more often of that feeling about
it was so
women.
powerful. I'm curious to hear your opinion, because this is not the first time that we are invited to, you know, a female like entrepreneurship dinner. Like, I've been to so many, you've been to so many, and a lot of them are great, and it's like nice to network. So why was this dinner you felt was so special?
I think because she had everyone stand up and tell their story. Like, it would have been a completely different dinner if we were all just sitting at the table talking to just whoever was right there. And also, like, not every time when you're having dinner do you actually connect and tell like a deep story. We got to really just dive into a lot of people's deep stories about their hardships, you know, no surface level. Like, it was right into it.
It was very disarming, I feel.
Exactly.
I saw some of the girls that were at the dinner. I would say there were maybe 30, 40 of us. I met a couple of them ever since, and they all kind of mentioned how at first it was very intimidating, because you guys, it was such a interesting mix of both like small business owners, people from different niches. So there were so many different levels and different kind of positions where the women came from, and that can be very intimidating, because especially for the smaller girls, you know, that we are just starting out or still figuring it out, hearing the type of exits people did, like the kind of volume they do, I feel like we were all, I don't have much to share. But the fact that she stood up in the beginning of the evening and she's like, this is a room of resources. Like, you need to stand up and ask for what you need. I get goosebumps. Yeah. Like, that stuck with me the most.
Totally. And I feel like I'm not someone who asks anyone for anything. It's something I'm trying to actually get better at, is asking people for advice. I actually never do that. You know, I'm not the type of person who would text someone for a favor, but I'm trying to work on doing that for myself. So for that dinner, I was like, I would be crazy to not stand up and share what I actually need help with, because I do need help. But I think it was also about like humility and being like, so I'm not necessarily so happy with the size of my company, especially after talking those people that were like, I exited for $650 million. I was like I'm an ant. But I just felt like crazy not sharing what I actually do need. So I was really proud of myself for standing up. But I also didn't even know so many of the women that were there, when they would stand up and share what their company, I was like, no way. I was like freaking out.
Like all the brands that we know, that you've seen around.
Like
and
Sakara, Freedom Mom. I was like, dang. My biggest takeaway of the whole evening was also like, wow, all these women have accomplished so much, and their moms on top of it. Like, I'm like, women are just incredible.
Also insane in like the best kind of way. I agree with you. I'm still processing it. I think I need to journal more about it, just so it's like stays in my head. But I'm happy that we both had the same kind of takeaways. And another thing that I'm gonna finish with about this dinner, because that was just so sweet to me. I've known you for a few years now, and you know, you're very composed. I agree, you're not the loudest person in the room, and you kind of keep to yourself in a way. When you stood up, because you were the first at our table to stand up, I was so proud of you. No, not shocked at all. I was so proud of you. And I love the fact that you started this ripple effect of other girls that stood up and shared, even with our voices shaking because we were all so nervous. That was so beautiful. So I'm proud of you. You're doing great, sweetie.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so I want to start with the whole, you already kind of touched on the family, which I want to go back to, but I want to start from very much kind of the beginning, because today you are the founder, you're the creative director of Aureum, right? Mm-hmm. It's been so cool to see where you've been taking the brand, and you can tell that your heart is in it. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious, even from like childhood, looking back now, do you see patterns in like your interests or hobbies that kind of brought you to establish your own fashion and accessory brand?
Totally. I think so much of it had to do with my mom. So my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I think I'm trying to have more deep conversations with her now, like later in life, but she was really trying to encourage me. She would just make little remarks all the time, like, one day we're all going to be working for you. Like, she would just drill in my head, figure out what your passion is and figure out a way to get paid for it. I think she wished she went for more in her own life, so that she kind of drilled in my head, and she just always made me feel like I could do anything. And I feel like when I go to become a mom, I'm very excited to have all this knowledge and pass that on, because I think she didn't lead by example, but she definitely led by affirmations and how she spoke to me. I think that's what helped me so much. Like, that's what helped me be delusional enough to think I can start this company all by myself and do everything that I want to do. But it makes total sense. Like, I was always obsessed with fashion. I would make my own dance.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up on Long Island.
Oh, okay.
And I was a competition dancer growing up. Like, if you ever have seen Dance Moms, that was literally my life.
No way.
Like, exactly my life.
Your mom was a dance mom though?
Yes.
How close is it to what they show on the TV show? Like
it's not that much drama.
Okay, it's more dramatic.
But it's like a little bit. There is drama about being like, my daughter's not in the front. Like, stuff like that. Totally
I'm
happens.
so fascinated by like
so
the American dream life or whatever that is. It's so funny to me. Okay, so you got used to like being on stage. You were creative. You moved. So they were already kind of...
I loved making my costumes. Before there was even MySpace and Facebook, I was on fashion forums looking up the Olsen twin. Like, when Who What Wear just launched, which was 1,000 years ago, I remember going on and like reading the trends and all of that. So I was definitely always into fashion. I went to FIT classes when I was in high school. Makes total sense what I do now. Like, I used to write in my homework agenda, like my outfits instead of my homework. I would be like, wore this today.
Documenting. You're already documenting. I love it. So you finished school. Did you do university?
Yes. So I went to college for fashion merchandising and business. And then my dream job was to be a buyer. So I actually got offered a job as a buyer before I ever even graduated college, which was really nice.
Oh, wow.
Because I was interning. Like, in America, or I don't know if you're allowed to do free internships anymore, but back in the day, you would intern for free for multiple summers. So the department store, I interned there the previous summer, and they gave me a job at the end of it. So that was great.
So you were like, I was like
set.
On my way to my dream life.
Exactly. And then I just kind of saw the path of being a buyer, how long it would take to make more money. And I was just kind of like, I don't think this is for me. So that was when I started just doing influencer stuff on the side. I was doing a blog. I originally started my blog to help me get a better job in fashion. I wanted to be a buyer for like Revolve or Shopbop or Intermix or like Bergdorf's. I wanted something cooler. So I started posting my outfits online as like a resume, so that every time I would send my resume in, I could have something that was actually showing my taste in my fashion. Because, this was a million years ago. So
wait, what year was it?
I quit my job in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of ahead of your time
for
thinking, because I don't think people looked at social media as a portfolio the way they look at it now.
Exactly.
So you were very much kind of seeing the
fashion
vision.
Is so visual.
Yes.
So how do you, and I had no connections. And no one I knew in fashion, no one to send my resume. Like, I was young, I didn't have that crazy of a network, and I just felt like that was an easy way to just show something, show something visual that's not just where I went to college.
What was the name of your blog?
Dressed for Dreams.
Oh,
Do you love it?
I love. Okay, so you started doing the blog, and did it start to kind of catch attention?
Yeah, caught attention. I was doing it on the side, like taking outfit photos on Saturday and then posting them in the bathroom at my job during the week. And then they got to a point where I was getting paid more than I was being an influencer than my actual job. And I was getting invited to like trips all the time. All my friends were full-time influencers. So I decided to quit my job.
So that was the kind of the aha moment, was more like, it makes sense financially. Like, I'm making more money. Why am I staying here?
Yeah.
But I think that for a lot of people, it's very difficult to change kind of a path, especially one that you've been building in your mind for years and years and years, because it feels safer. You're like, you see where this could go. What was kind of your logic of like, I'm quitting my 9 to 5, I'm gonna do this? Like, you didn't really know. Yes, it's an industry, but I mean, it could also disappear tomorrow. What was the thought process?
I definitely felt very confident that the industry wasn't going to disappear. People would say that, make that comment to me all the time. Oh, like I remember my exit interview when I was leaving, they were like, if you ever want to come back, if something happens and you want to come back, I'm like, this is the beginning of this economy, like this creator economy. I knew that doing this was just going to get even bigger.
Yeah.
And I also felt like it could be a stepping stone to what I wanted to do next. Like, even though I was early on, there was definitely some girls who were very well known that were starting brands. It definitely helped me realize, oh, if I want to start a brand one day, if I build up my personal brand,
Right.
then
So
that'll
you
be
saw the
easier.
path
I
there.
saw the path there.
Who was somebody that like comes to mind when you think that was someone that shows me what could be done?
Yeah, it was like all the girls I'm friends with now, like Danielle Bernstein, Ariel Charnas, Shea Marie, Tosh Oakley, like they all had brands at the time.
Yeah.
So I was early, but there was definitely some big
There's
girls,
already proof of
like
concept.
Kiara. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there was a lot of girls who were crushing it, and my parents were supportive because Danielle Bernstein and Ariel Charnas are both Long Island girls. So they were always like on the Long Island newspaper. So my parents like understood that this was a good idea.
I love it. Okay, shout out to Danielle and Ariel
yeah.
because they paved the way.
Totally.
Especially convincing the parents to trust the vision here.
Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting. I don't know you very well. But again, like I mentioned, to me, you seem somebody that kind of keeps more of yourself to yourself. So how did even like social media felt like? Because you have to put yourself out there.
I started at a time where I was just doing photos on Instagram. I love doing
It was a different
to
time.
this day. That's basically all I do. I
Yeah.
don't talk on my stories. I do vlogs here and there. And it's funny because I do love talking,
Mm-hmm.
but my natural state is definitely like I hate attention. I don't like attention. So it's funny that I do this for a living and I feel a lot of like friction. I love taking photos. I
Yeah.
love putting outfits together. Like when I go to talk on videos, it is fine, but it's
Right.
definitely, it takes
A lot out of you.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a result of being a dance mom child? Like,
I
you are so
actually
much
think
on
it's a
stage.
result of like, I don't know. I hate to say it, but I do think I went through a phase where it just felt safer to not show my personality because I felt like the like 3 haters I had on the internet were not nice. And I think it like made me be like, okay, I want to keep myself safe and not share everything about myself. I don't know what it is. I think I'm also maybe just introverted and shy, but I'm also not. Like anyone that is actually friends with me, I'm not shy or introverted.
You're not, no. And the more I get to know you, it's like I definitely see that you're not that at all. It's just you are safer
Yeah.
when it comes to opening yourself up to other people. So it's very interesting, but also cool to see you kind of unravel because you mentioned to me before, like, I want to do more YouTube, like I want to show more of my personality. It's usually the signs, and I'm talking here like I'm a social media psychologist over here because I've gone through that myself, the journey of starting on social media and trying to curate this image that felt safe and one that I'm like, oh, people will like that. Like that's really, you know, safe. Like no one has anything bad to say. And then when people started to say negative things, I was like, okay, how can I be even safer?
Yeah,
and I was
exactly.
very much like curating my thoughts and my opinions, didn't share much. And then at some point came a breaking point and I'm like, I actually don't need you to like me. But it was a very long journey, you know? So I understand how people that find themselves in social media, especially with like a nature of more, you know, I don't need to be the center of attention, you can really start getting kind of super guarded with the way you showcase yourself to the world.
Yeah, I even talked to my therapist about this too because I feel like I even went through a phase like that with friends too.
Yeah.
Where I was really, really guarded. Like I feel like there was a chunk of my time where all my best friends were influencers. Like when I lived in New York, that was like my core group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Then I kind of felt like I needed to take a step back and I'm like, I need friends who are not influencers. And then now I feel like I'm like, okay, I feel like I need to get back into being friends with people who do the same thing as me. I feel like I almost put like a wall up and just not as open because, but I feel like I've talked before about how I do feel like the influencer circle in Miami is such a different energy. I think a lot of it has to do with everyone's a mom. So everyone has like a real life and perspective, and it's their whole world, but it's not their whole world.
It's their work, but
Exactly.
not like, yeah, 100%. When you started building your persona online and you are, because you're a more curated kind of content creator than, let's say, me, is that the vision that you have? Like, do you kind of have this is
I
the
don't think about
brand
anything.
Bible that I follow?
No, I literally don't plan anything, think about anything. I just like put outfits together and post it. I have no strategy, zero strategy. I'm like, I need to join Creator Method, by the way. Because
for the strategy. I think you do have it. I think you just didn't have a chance to sit down and like really see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also feel like I went through a phase where Aureum is basically now a luxury brand.
Yeah.
So that's also something I struggle with too, where I'm like, how much showing behind the scenes is too much, because when you're trying to speak to a luxury consumer, it is a little bit different. But at the same time, I'm like, why can't I just be the real person, like, and be wearing luxury stuff? Like, I think it all works together,
I do think
you know?
it's happening already. I think actually
Totally.
with the luxury space, the fact that they're tapping into, you know, real people with presence online, use them to tell the story. It's just because there's a disconnect. And I mean, you have a huge advantage because you built the foundation of yourself first before Aureum. But I want to hear, at what point in your content creation, you're doing this full time, at what point you're like, okay, I'm ready to start something of my own?
When I started Aureum, so Matt and I were just dating. We were boyfriend and girlfriend. And I remember I always knew I wanted to start a brand. And I had around like 100,000 followers on Instagram at the time. And the only examples of people I could see who started a brand were girls who had 2 million, 3 million, you know, all these like much bigger creators. So I definitely was hesitating, being like, okay, let me try to hit 1 million. I'm not even at 1 million now. This was 6 years ago. Let me hit 1 million, then we'll start the brand. And it was actually Matt who very much pushed me to be like, no, you have a dedicated community. At the time, I was also like talking on my stories every day. I was just a totally different creator at the time. And he was really the one that pushed me to be like, let's do it. You know, why not just start it now? And I was like, okay.
And you started the brand together.
And we started the brand
Was
together.
that not scary? Because you were boyfriend and girlfriend. Now,
I
thank
know.
God it all worked
now
out.
that I think
You're
back,
married.
I'm like, what was that's so me. I don't think anything through. I'm just like, okay, let's go. I'm like impulsive. I'm like, okay, let's do it. I didn't think.
Was there like a contract in place where you're
No.
like, if we break up, you own nothing?
No.
Girl.
I mean, we're 50. I actually think my dad at one point was like, look at the business paperwork he did and make sure you're 50% on it. And I remember like going through his stuff and like looking at it, and I was like, yeah, I am. Like, he's so
Like,
not
okay,
like
cool,
that.
we can
Like, I
continue.
trusted him fully. It was fine. Thank God.
No, truly, thank God. So you started the business, you funded it yourselves. I know Matt had the vision and he's like, you have a dedicated community.
Yeah.
But in reality, when you start tapping into design is one thing, but manufacturing, like that kills all your dreams. Like, how did you power through?
Everything kills your dreams. Well, I definitely started at a time where I hadn't seen anyone fail. It was so new, like so new of the wave, that there wasn't necessarily anyone coming out just yet saying like, I ended up stepping back. So
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest. And then over the years, I feel like people have understood like just how much goes into it. I also think I had an advantage in the sense that if I would have started Aureum 100% by myself while also trying to be a creator, it wouldn't have been possible. Like the fact that I had Matt also on the back end helping me do so many things made it possible to keep up with being a creator, to, you know, like
To
the whole
continue
process.
the funnel, right?
You would be shocked at how much I am still to this day, like in the weeds of like the day-to-day of all the work of like me actually being
What
the
does
person who do
Matt,
it.
like, what is Matt's role? Was it the same since you started, or did it develop throughout the years?
It's basically been the same. I think we're really trying to delegate, but every time we delegate, it's like an issue, but that's a whole other story. But so basically Matt is in charge of a lot of the operations. So he's overseeing customer service. He's unbelievable at ads because he used to be a trader. So he's like on his computer, like treating the ads like stock trading. But we have a person for ads now, but he just oversees them. He's the one that's like the rock day to day, where like he's
So make
everyone's
sure
getting
the
on the call,
cash flow, operations,
all the cash flow, and even just like the daily call I'm not even on because I'm like, I don't like the daily call. And a lot of the reordering with manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
We honestly are both like constantly talking and both have our hands in everything, but those are kind of his main roles. He used to run the feed for like 5 years. So, and then I'm in charge of all like the design. I go back and forth with our manufacturers for all of the production and design like by myself. I handle all of the creative direction of the campaign. I style all the campaigns. I edit all the campaigns, and
I feel like I need another
there's
cup of coffee.
a thousand other
listening.
things that I'm not even thinking about.
First of all, I mean, why? How long have Aureum been around? You
6
just
years.
celebrated 6 years.
Crazy.
Okay, you already put obviously the issue of delegation or the lack of delegation on the table. So I want to talk about that because first of all, you work with your husband. I work with my husband. I understand the kind of daily struggles and bigger things you have to think about because this is also the person that you go back home with. And I don't think people realize, the constant, it's like sliding doors, where you have to make a choice throughout the day in the way you communicate, in the way you talk, in the way you approach things, because this is also somebody that is your partner in life as well. But throughout these years, without having anybody on your team, just him and you, what were like lessons that you've learned? Or is there a way that you guys approach working together that really helped to keep kind of calm at home?
Well, we definitely don't have calm. So I don't want to sit here and lie to you.
It's like there's no calm. It's just chaos 24/7.
Because we're both very alpha, I would say. But I think the number one thing for us is like when we're getting into a toxic environment is to pause and just be like, we are a team.
Yeah.
It's not me versus you. It's like anytime we're in a flow of working together as a team is when we accomplish great things. So sometimes we have to like take a step back and just say we're a team. And that kind of helps us a little bit.
Don't you also feel when you work with your husband, you mastered the communication of fewer words?
No. I say everything on my mind all the time.
No, you say it, but when I say even fewer words, it's like you don't stay in certain state. You just kind of like move on, let's go.
Yeah.
Move.
We'll get into a fight and then 2 seconds later I'm like, what do you think of this feed for this?
Yeah.
Like we move past it.
Yes, very quickly, which I think is, I've noticed that with couples that work together, that's like a huge muscle that you develop. You just don't have the time to just sit and talk through.
Angry or anything.
Yeah. So that has been very helpful. I agree with you. Coming back to the idea of like being a team is extremely important. But for me, going back to delegation, because I want to hear what the hell is going through your mind, that really, for me, saved us.
Totally.
Because we were butting heads all the time. And it was interesting because when we started the business, Gary already came with a lot of experience of scaling businesses. This was really my first business. But I think that I also, because of my age, I also have an ego about it. So there was a lot of like personal self-inquiry that I had to go through to be like, what am I fighting for? And when we started bringing people in between us and building that system, it helped us a lot. So I'm kind of like, I applaud you for 6 years building a business, just him and you.
Yeah, we have employees, but we have like 2 employees.
Okay, but it's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. A lot of it also has to do with like just candidly is also about operating a brand takes so much capital.
Yeah.
And when you start adding salary after salary after salary, it's like we've chose to sacrifice our own mental health of handling everything ourselves in order to be able to keep growing and scaling and bringing on new categories, invest in inventory, like just all the other back end things of the brand. I also think a big mistake we had was Matt and I started the brand both having no idea what we're doing. Neither of us had any experience in building a brand. So we didn't go into the business being like, all right, we're going to build this brand and let's hire this person and this person. We also didn't have the means to do that. So we almost did everything ourselves for too long that it became hard to take a step back. And right now that I'm like trying to get pregnant, that's been a really big like new push for me to be like, I need to delegate. Like, I don't think I should fly to every single shoot we do and style the whole thing and creative direct the whole thing and take the phone content and then sometimes be jumping in modeling. Like, I'm like, okay, we need to get to a place where maybe I don't have to fly to every shoot and So now I have a new perspective of really trying to delegate more, but it's really hard to find the right people, especially when it's like the brand is my heart and soul and my creative direction, and so it is hard to find people who align with that. And then creative things is hard to delegate sometimes.
I'm very excited for you to become a mother because like you're already finding this different perspective. And by the way, I really respect your journey. Even me saying that, like the fact that you guys didn't hire anybody, there are so many factors to your point, the idea of like it has to make sense financially. And you know, when you choose to go into entrepreneurship, there is no like this balance. Something's got to give. And for you guys, you've been focusing on growing the business and make it make sense financially. It had to come on the expense of, you know, personal decisions, personal choices. I love that you're sharing that because I don't think you hear a lot of people talk about kind of the personal sacrifices that need to be made. To your point with getting to this place of just like now you're realizing that there's maybe a different way. Yeah. Motherhood is going to show you a lot of different ways. But totally. I want to know kind of the turning point for the business because I know you guys launched, and even though you didn't know what you guys are doing, you had a super successful first year. That scares the shit out of me. Super successful off the bat. It was very like, scary to me.
I mean, we did like 7 figures our first year.
That's amazing.
Which is unbelievable. But then it was a very like, it's been a slow and steady grind. It's not like we did 1 million, then 10 million the next year, then 100 million the third. Like it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
It was like, I feel like Aureum is very much has grown very slow and steady.
So this is why it scares me, because what happens is that we're already kind of feeding into the narrative of overnight success, right? And I think once you start getting into the business, you understand that overnight success means 10 years of building something.
Exactly.
But when something kind of catches fire from the bat, what happens to me now as a business person, I look back at the years, what happens is that then that's your standard now. These are your expectations. And you are saying, you know, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, we made $1 million. Next year has to be 6 million. And it's this insane amount of pressure and expectations, but without the tools or real understanding of how to grow this business, right? Especially when you just kind of come from your backgrounds where you're like, we'll just do it ourselves and figure it out. And a lot of people make a lot of mistakes throughout in order to like keep up with that. And I think a lot of us burn out in that pursuit of like, how do we triple, you know, a 10x the business because you have this amazing success right off the bat. So how did you guys navigate, even for you personally as a creative, and it's your product that you produce? So the first year you hit these amazing numbers, but then it kind of starting to be a little bit flatter, you know, and like it takes a long time to build. How did you go through that?
It's something we talk about all the time in terms of like, it's so hard to know what we should do sometimes. Like I feel like not enough people talk about how, for me with Aureum, I could take 2 paths, right? Where there's no right or wrong answer, and it's something we debate about all the time. I could either go get investment right now and go get an office and a team and spend XYZ on all these different things and try to like scale it much faster, or I can continue having everything under my control, continue on this journey of just learning, continue on the journey of being so proud of the products that I make. And, you know, maybe we don't have the world's most unbelievable margins, but we're making something amazing, and slow and steady it will, you know, continue to catch on. And I'm like, do I want to have $100 million company? Like, do I want to be in charge of like 30, 40, 50 people? I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I feel like I almost would rather have it be more niche and maybe be like a $20 million company would be our dream, where we own 100%. All the profits are go to us and our family. We are in control of like how we want to run it and what we want to make and what we want to do. We have a small team who feels like family.
And you weren't tempted at any point to be like, maybe we cut some corners?
I know. No.
Because that's what I hear a lot from a lot of people that are like coming in with this very niche idea and want to bring certain value. But then when you start hearing the business talk of it and profit and all these things, you're like, it's, you know, a lot of them choose to kind of maybe go lower a little bit on quality, but then grow faster.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be dead wearing something that I hate. Like, it's really that simple. Like, it would hurt my soul, and I think it would come across as fake, and it wouldn't sell anyway. Like, I think we also follow what our customers want, and our customers like our most expensive things because they're the most special and they're most like, wow. And it makes someone be like, there's nothing that brings me more joy than someone getting something and being overly surprised, like exceeding their expectations of what they were going to get. Like, when I was going to launch a handbag, I could have went and launched like $300-$400 handbags, more mass approach. But I was like, I want to make something I would actually wear and make it authentic and create something that I genuinely want to put on my body every day.
You know, the vision is so strong because you don't seem, and maybe I'm sure you are, you know, when you are reading or seeing all these brands popping up, or Alo coming out with this freaking like luxury bags, and you're just, what the hell is going on? It feels like everyone's jumping like vultures on every little opportunity without truly like intention behind it. But it's easy to get distracted. So what brings you back to like your kind of core? Maybe it is the fact that you're kind of closing yourself in like the bubble, and you don't get, you know, too much, people don't have access to you in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe that is your power.
Yeah. I definitely think I do better when I'm just like in my own world. But yeah, I definitely think I am connected to my why. Like, the world doesn't need more crap. I'm not trying to just make crap.
We talk about it with Gary all the time because we're interested right now in like building a CPG brand. We had so many ideas throughout the years, and we just constantly go back to like, the world doesn't need this. Like, the world doesn't need another X. You know what I mean? It's just there's so much of it. So it really is an interesting world to navigate. But do you feel like you're in a crossroad now? You're speaking of, you know, right now you're in a phase of, you're looking into motherhood, you're looking into having kids. What does that look like for your business then? Are you figuring it out as well?
I'm trying to figure it out. Like, everyone on my team knows. Like, we talk in the sense of like, okay, when I'm pregnant, I won't be able to model. We won't have me as like the free model that performs the best. So we're like trying to prepare, but I'm delulu enough to think like, I feel like I'm gonna just be working when I'm pregnant, when I'm have my baby. Like, it's just gonna be not the same amount, but I'm still gonna be able to like do things and be inspired. Because I have had this thought a lot, because especially, and this is zero judgment, I have a lot of friends who are stay-at-home moms. I go back and forth. I'm like, wow, do I want to be a stay-at-home mom? Like, sometimes I go to my husband, I'm like, I want you to be my sugar daddy actually, and I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And
he's like, too late.
Yeah, he was like, we're a little too deep into, that's not the arrangement we have here. But I feel like I need to be someone that stays busy and follows my dreams and all these things. I think I'll just do it all. I watch so many people do it all, so I could do it all too.
You absolutely can, but just not by yourself. That's the only thing that I'm trying to like leave you with here.
Yeah,
but also, do you not feel that we're getting mixed signals in society? There was this era of girl bossing, and you know, I'm thinking about Emily Vice from like Glossier, like all these girls that were come out writing books. It was a revolution. And I feel like all of us went so deep into it, even me having kids at home. And I talk about it a lot because I got pregnant during this era, and I gave birth to my third, Maximus, during that era. And it burned the hell out of me. It took me 2 years to come back to myself. The millennials is getting the worst of it because we were pushed to be the girl bosses, and now trad wives is where it's at. Now you go, found a cowboy, get a farm, make your own milk and honey, and pop 8 kids.
Yeah. I feel like my algorithm is also, I don't know why I'm on this side of TikTok, but like my algorithm is also like, come with me as a stay-at-home girlfriend. It's like, go to Patek, go to Hermes. I'm like, fuck, what did I do wrong with my life? This should be my life.
These are your customers.
Like, why am I at work? Like, who tricked me into working? I feel fooled by the Girlboss era. But then, I mean, you go to things like Emma Grede's thing, and you're like, this is who I want to be. I want to be a bad bitch, and I want to have my own money, and I want to be in control.
Yeah.
There's no right answer, but like me and you are two perfect extremes, right? Like, you had kids really young. I'm 34 going on 35 trying to have my first kid, I randomly feel this sense of like, oh my God, I'm so behind. Like, why did I wait so long? And what is that going to be a huge mistake? Maybe sometimes you have thoughts of like, oh, did I have kids too early? I don't know if you ever think that, but I feel like everyone can think about other sides of like the other side of the grass.
It's nice to make space to ask these questions and to answer them. And maybe the answer is sometimes, yeah, maybe I made a mistake. Like making a mistake to me, it doesn't mean that it affects negatively the rest of your life. It's just a choice that was made that now has a different kind of outcome. And how do I take this outcome and, make it into another choice, because that's what it is in our lives. Like we have choices. I'm curious what drove you to not consider kids earlier.
I feel like I'm now mentally like really ready. Like no one I knew had kids, none of my siblings or cousins. Like I don't know, like I just wasn't ever around children, so I never was like connecting with a child and being like, wow, this is so beautiful, So I think it wasn't until people I knew, I was around their children and I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like I want to be a child all over again by being mom. Like that sounds like a blast. So a lot of different things about it, but
environment is so important. Something that is magical about Miami is the fact that you get that beautiful combination of women that are kind of doing their own thing, whether it's a career or even taking a hobby very seriously, like just put themselves in things that gives them purpose, but also raising kids and having a home and whatever it is. Like I love the spirit here. And I think that's what we felt also in that room. This idea of like, you can have it all. It looks different for everyone else based on timeline, based on so many different factors, but it's out there. That felt extremely special. Is Matt ready? Is he like, okay?
Not as eager as I am. Like, he's not like crying when I get my period, like he's just like, all right, it's gonna happen. Like, calm down.
Oh my
God.
But
I think he is definitely ready.
I am so curious also with you are sharing yourself on social media. You're also pouring your heart out into design. I feel like you're kind of vulnerable on both sides because when you put it out there, I mean, it's for everyone to judge, and judgment also looks like, are people buying it? How do you navigate that?
It's so hard. Especially because I'm the only person designing anything.
Yeah, you have no one to blame.
So
like,
if it
that
doesn't
sucked.
do well, everyone's like, well, Cass, it's your designs. And I'm like, womp. And the crazy thing too is like, we'll launch something and we'll sell 0. And then a month later, it'll become like a bestseller. So I've learned that like roller coaster of emotions of being like, no, guys, like we're just a little early, or like, no, I love this. I know that it will do well eventually. Like it's going to take a second. Like launching a handbag, that's something that people think about for months before they make the decision. They need to see it 1,000 times. So I feel like it's just about believing in what I actually make and like taking my time with what I'm making and being like, okay, if it's not selling, I need to show people then, because it is great. I believe in it. So, but yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster of, it's so hard. I mean, Aureum, it definitely stands on its own outside of me. I would definitely say that it's not like, people don't buy Aureum because they're like, I want to support Cass. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's not a merch brand or like a lot of our customers have no idea who I am, but that I feel like no matter how hard I try, it definitely feels really personal sometimes of like, is it because people don't like me? Like even being an influencer, it's like that video didn't do well and you're like,
is it me?
Do people hate me? Like I'm not growing on this month. Like, does that mean I'm not great? Like it's really hard to detach.
You really have to develop a certain mindset, thick skin, really leaning into the stoicism of life, of just removing yourself from the emotions. And then you get into, speaking of kind of, you mentioned the feminine energy, where it's all about connecting to your emotions, so your creativity flows. It's like this constant, these balls in the air that you're trying to balance, and nothing falls because they're all needed.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you foster that sense of, you're saying this like feminine that leads you, the intuition? Because I think for women in business, that's a very difficult thing to continue, building.
Yeah.
Or connecting to from the get-go.
I go for walks as many mornings a week as I can. I go for like a long walk across the Venetian, and I just like listen to a podcast. And that's where I like stir up all of my ideas and what I think. And I like just start the day like buzzing. I also like sit on my balcony and I have like my journal and I'm like with my dogs, even just those like 10 minutes of just like thinking time. But I just think it's having that alone time, having space to be alone with your own thoughts and like ideas. And
But it's definitely the hardest thing to claim and to make sure that you get every single day, especially in today's world. It's so loud and we have so many distractions and devices that are beeping and, you know, morning routines that needs to be accomplished. Like the list goes on and on and on. At the end of the day, that's why I'm kind of excited for the robots. I'm like, bring on the robot to bring me my supplements, make me the coffee, do whatever
Totally.
needs to be done, that I can steal a little bit more time to just sit there.
You know what my husband and I talk about a lot is how we have used our environment to level ourselves up. Every time we have moved, it's been like a little bit of a stretch for us financially. And then we like move into said place, especially because we work from home, you know, it's everything. So every time we move, it's like a little bit of a stretch. And then we move into this home or whatever it is that's like, wow. And then 2 years go by, a year goes by, and now it's like easy for us to be living there. There is something to be said about like we're looking at houses right now, for example. Yeah. And I'm like so excited to change my environment. I'm so excited to like reach that next level of the game, you know, and then this will probably be our house for 3 to 4, maybe 5 years. Then we definitely will level up from there. And it has to do with the environment you're around. And I think, I don't know, I always have these like really bad advice, funny sayings where I'm like, you got to spend money to make money. Like you got to invest in yourself. Like I remember even when I was broke, I was like, I'm going to spend all my money I'm making as an influencer on my apartment. And then there was a point where my apartment in New York City like catapulted my influencer career.
Yeah.
And it's like all these little things that you kind of have to not be afraid to maybe risk. Like it gives you that push to be like, okay, our mortgage is this or our rent is this. We need to be able to make this to, I feel like when you're an entrepreneur and you're in control of how much you're making, right? Where you don't have a ceiling.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have a job, you obviously have
it's
a steadier budget. But when you're an entrepreneur, I think that is something that really helps. It's like you're forced to make sure you make that amount of money.
You're forced to take a risk because it's the only way you can take it to the next level. And then you're forced to work harder in order to, you know, make sure that you get there.
It's so hard. It's so hard. And I feel like not enough people talk about why it's so hard. And it's hard to explain.
Well, I definitely think, and I'm going to leave you with that because I already said it 3 times. But again, from my experience, I think that it's hard because you're doing it alone. Anything you do alone will be extremely hard. And obviously, the more things that you put on your plate, it's going to get harder and kind of really push you to a breaking point. One of the best lessons I've learned from my entrepreneurial career is I know how rigid you are about the expectations that you have for your brand and the products and all that stuff. And yeah, you will never find somebody that can replace what you do. But even have somebody that can do the 60% of what you do is just gonna teach you to, first of all, surrender. Because again, to have it all is not to have it all at 100% at all times. You have to have grace for yourself and like a lot of patience. And you've been in this game for so long that you just have such a high standard. I don't want to say it like that, but you kind of have to lower your standard a little bit.
I know.
At least for like a period of time.
I have been the last few months. I'm like getting there. And now I'm like ready. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready now for another employee. Like,
yeah.
I
mean, I feel it from you. I feel like you're ready to start letting go a little bit.
Totally.
And by the way, in parenting and motherhood as well, in family life as well.
I notice in motherhood, like I love helping my friend and her kids. Like I went trick-or-treating with them and it was so fun to just help her, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're a mother, like I really believe in it takes a village, and I definitely am going to have help when I become a mom.
It is. I call it a lifeline. That's my lifeline, the women around me. And I made that decision when we moved to Miami, because when we moved to Miami, I was in a similar place like you, where I was just super focused on business and work. It was just Gary and I. Everything was just very rigid, and I didn't really give much room for pleasure, joy, and connection in my life outside of, you know, my family. I was like, okay, I'm moving to a new environment. this is my focus. What is next for Aureum? What do you see it developing?
I really want to do clothing. Like, I have a very distinct vision of like what I want it to look like.
Oh my God.
We have a new bag coming out in the first week of December that I'm obsessed with. We've been around for 6 years. We've never named anything after me. And I'm like, guys,
this is gonna be the
can we name this after me, please?
Cass, honestly, I'm so excited to see what you're gonna continue to do. You're truly like a creative through and through, and the products that you put out there and the way they make people feel, like that added confidence that a belt or soon a bag, it really makes a difference. People carry themselves differently. So it's beautiful to see how you touch, put yourself out there in like these different ways. I'm excited to just, next time you're gonna come here, we're gonna have a baby. Gonna have a baby.
I know,
here.
we're manifesting.
I love it.
I know, and then I could be part of the Miami mom crew.
Yeah, it's a cool crew. It's a cool crew. Cassandra, thank you so much for being here today. I said your full name. It's for the bag. I'm manifesting it for you, the name. Where can people find you?
So my handle is at Cass DiMicco, CASSDIMICCO, and then Aureum is AUREUM.collective.
Love it.
Thanks for
having me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. They inspire me. So if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always, always remember, you are not alone.